Yeah, I see you guys. I see you guys. Wait, festive wreath?
You guys just get a bunch of stuff?
Yeah, I think I've been told to go to the shop.
I can't get the wrecking ball.
Oh, gingerbread bastion is 1 coin. Yo, wait a minute.
Free?
Yo, real 1 coin. Gingerbread skin is 1 coin. Yo, pog. Gingerbread bastion is 1 coin. Wait, I just bought it. Wait, what? It says requesting price. I just Hello? They took my coin. What the f? Okay. Azteca in the shop now. One sec. Wait, what? 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 No, I have the friend. Dude, there's no way I have the friends. Dude, the game's bugged. Okay, Azteca, 1500. This is actually one of the good skins for 1500. That's actually a lot better. Tor bundle. Captain.
You won't sink my battleship.
Less than 3.
It's funny. It's actually funny. A sweet holiday surprise introducing legendary gingerbread bastion. Sweet holiday surprise. Oh, okay. Log in and earn coins and collect the all-new legendary gingerbread bastion for only 1 Overwatch coin. The heroes of Overwatch are dashing through the snow in this year's Winter Wonderland. This event features the special delivery of new arcade modes, cosmetic, free rewards, and plenty of good times to be had with teammates and friends. We're also cooking up a sweet holiday treat just for you. Starting now through January 2nd, you can buy the all-new legendary bastion skin for 1 single Overwatch coin. Okay, they've said that 3 times in a sentence. Okay, thank you, appreciate it, but we get it. Even if you are brand new to Overwatch 2 and don't have any Overwatch coins yet, we have you covered. Completing weekly challenges in-game will reward Overwatch coins for free. And thanks to our friends at Microsoft, you can now redeem Microsoft reward points for Overwatch coins. Okay, that's kind of cool. Log in Overwatch 2 now through January 2nd to get a special gift from the team. Just by opening the game, players will receive the Festive Wreath weapon charm and the 2023 player icon. Stick around and complete special holiday challenges to earn even more free rewards, including the Ice Queen Epic Brig skin. Just remember, the offer to get legendary skin free login rewards ends on January 2nd, so don't let the cookie crumble. The Winter Wonderland free login gift seasonal challenges and free rewards will be available through January 3rd. From here, all of us at Blizzard, we want to say thank you for the millions of players who have joined us already, and we wish you a very wonderful holiday week, and can't wait to show you what we have in store for the new year. Oggies. Chompy, is there anything else? Also, Retro! Oh, we got another host here. Overwatch 2 developer blog, Matchmaker and Competitive Deep Dive Part 1. Wait, that's actually kind of juicy. Okay. Hello, heroes. In the first part of our 2-part deep dive on matchmaking and competitive, we'll look at how matchmaking works under the hood and answer some outstanding questions around how MMR is determined and factored into the system. This is something that a lot of people have been really, really confused about, even myself in some ways. Even though I have a decent understanding of how it works, it's, ultimately, the goal of the matchmaker is to create as fair matches as possible across all game modes. We know matchmaking can be a bit of a frustration, especially in competitive, and we'd like to recognize it doesn't always feel like it's meeting its goal. Okay. In order to address your thoughts, we need to dissect the matchmaker and competitive systems separately before going into how they affect... Sorry, let me turn off alerts.
Yay.
How they affect one another. In part 1, we'll talk about how the matchmaker works, some of the challenges we faced, and some ways we've started tackling those issues. Internal matchmaking rating, MMR. This is the big, scary number that nobody knows actually exists. Only Blizzard knows. Our matchmaker is designed to create balanced matches. To do that, we need some approximation of each player's skill. Everyone has an internal matchmaking rating, MMR, that's a numerical value to describe your skill relative to everyone else. However, MMR isn't an absolute value, meaning your MMR can change even if your personal skill stays the same. This could indicate the general population is getting better or worse compared to you. You can see this in the example below that displays your MMR in quick play, with most of us right around the middle of the curve. Current distribution of quick play MMR. That's interesting. I wonder what this little bump is then. Wow. So, is GM Plus like way the fuck over here? Because that's wild. Your MMR will rise over time if if you improve your skill and win more games against players of your current MMR level. All our game modes, including competitive, only look at MMR when forming a match. That's big. So it doesn't look at your skill tier division. So when you see someone who's a plat skill tier division, and let's say your master's skill tier division, they don't give a shit about that, what you're being shown. They only care about the back end, which is really kind of deceptive because like you feel like you're like, it doesn't make sense to you, you know? We never use your outward facing skill tier division or division to form matches. Like that just feels so weird though. Likewise, the rank you see in your player profile isn't the same as their MMR. So right now, I think I'm GM4 because I just ended up winning a few. I haven't been playing much tank so far this season. It's been a very weird season for me, ranked wise. But I was Masters 1, I won 7 more games, and now I'm GM4. Does it think I'm like actually like GM2 or GM1 or even further beyond? But because I haven't played enough games yet, I haven't caught up to that. Like that's such a wild idea to me. We only adjust your MMR after you win or lose a game, or if you come back after not playing for a long time. Your MMR is unaffected when we lower your rank at the beginning of a season. I talked about this. This is why I said like when they did the reset, that's why your games felt really, really hard, even though it would say like you're 2 ranks below where you were, which is stupid, in my opinion. And everyone in your matches has a similar MMR as you. So this is like trying to say like, oh, the game is fair, it's balanced, but it's like, you know, when you check people's profile, you're like, what the heck? That guy's like 2 ranks below me. What, you know? Initial ranked matches can feel turbulent because many players return at the beginning of a season, and anything can change. And anything that changes player population is going to affect the matchmaker. It's also important to remember that our teammates are human. We don't always perform the same from game to no, my teammates are bots. From game to game, or even team fight to team fight. This inherent variance is our individual performance, in our individual performance. Wow, I'm losing my mind today. It means that the matchmaker needs the results as many games as possible to get an accurate representation of your skill. So, you know what this is? In Overwatch 1, people who were like silver used to make a new account, and then they would place like plat, and they're like, look at me, I'm plat, I'm not actually silver, like the matchmaker's stupid, I'm actually a plat player. But if you played enough games, you would actually get knocked back down to silver. But they would use that as like, I got plat on a new account, like Elo Hell exists. Like it was just like this false fallacy because you didn't have enough games played for the matchmaker to truly determine where you're supposed to be. Skill variation within groups. We love seeing you group up and have fun together because we believe Overwatch 2 is a game best shared with friends. Grouping up does, however, influence the matchmaker in a few different ways. For those who don't understand what I'm talking about, in GM Plus, and actually, sorry, if you're and even in Overwatch 1, if you were 3900, depending on your matchmaking, your MMR in the background, you haven't been able to stack with friends in about 4 years. You still can't today. So you can only duo queue plus in GM. So I don't totally buy that. Because this is actually my argument for why stacking should be allowed, or at least 3 stacking should be allowed. I think it should be 1, 2, 3, no 4, and then 5. The reason you don't have 4 is because you don't want 4 people together and then 1 odd person out, because it's more than likely than not, the 4 people are going to bully the 1 person. So 4 stacks shouldn't be allowed, but 1, 2, 3, and 5 should be allowed, in my opinion. When players group together, there's the possibility the group has a larger skill difference than a match we'd typically like to make. Those of you at the highest skill levels may not notice these skill differences more too, because there's far fewer players at the top of the MMR curve. This is true. Absolutely. We can't always avoid these types of matches, but we can make them feel better. These matches can often feel imbalanced if they create situations where there's a large disparity of skill within a single role between the 2 teams. For example, we might match a highly rated tank against a comparably lower rated tank. So even if the overall match is balanced, the competition between tanks feels very one-sided. Wait, what? For example, we might match a highly rated tank against a comparably lower rated tank. So even if the overall match is balanced, the competition between tanks feels very one-sided. Wait, I'm a little confused on that one. Oh, so like sometimes they're saying that this sometimes does happen. Interesting. I actually personally feel that GM, like high-level GM, like GM1 right now, is very much determined by who has the Sojourn Mercy Pocket. But tank diff's been a thing for many, many years, so I understand that. We've got changes coming into the game over the next few months, which will dramatically reduce these disparities. We'll try to find pairs of similarly rated players in each role when making a match. That sounds good. For support and damage roles, which have 2 slots, each player will be paired with 1 player of the opposite team. Okay, so basically I think this is trying to say, like, if you're Plat 1, they will try to find a Plat 1 for the other team. Also, if you're support. So if you're Plat 1 support, and they're trying to make a match for you, the other team will at least have 1 other Plat 1 support. Or at least what the MMR does. But that's the problem, though. It doesn't go off your skill tier division. It goes off your MMR. So if it's going off your MMR, you don't know what that number even looks like for them. So even though it's supposed to be the same, as a player, you'll never know that. So it feels like the game's unbalanced. There will still be sometimes matches with large range of differently skilled players, but in these cases, the 2 teams will be more like But in these cases, the teams will be more like mirror images of each other. Okay. There will still sometimes be matches with large range of differently skilled players. So this is trying to say if you're GM, you might get diamonds on your team. But like the diamond on your team is also a diamond on the other team. So like you have 2 diamond players playing tank or 2 diamond players playing DPS, and it's like, even though it's a large skill disparity, the other team will also have a diamond like that, and I don't like that very much. I think that's... The game changes a lot when you have players that are like very, very low rank in comparison, because the speed of the game is different. The decisions they have to be making. So like, let's say me as a tank player, if I'm playing GM tank, I don't expect I have diamond supports. I'm expected that I'm playing with GM supports because they understand the tempo I'm playing at. They understand how fast I'm making decisions, and I'm playing like the whole game of tank is getting away with as much as you can, right? That's why when people say, "Oh, tanks are feeding," because you try to get away with too much. You need to find the limit of you can get away with as much as you can without dying, or if you do die, it's like a major trade, and it's like that game of figuring it out. And depending on how your supports are, you can push that game further or less, and you have to be able to gauge it. But if I can't tell the difference between one game I have a GM support and the next game I have diamond supports, it's going to be very, very hard for me able to gauge what the pacing of that game will end up looking like. And I shouldn't, as a player, have to gauge, are my supports significantly below my skill level or not? Because that's kind of ass, you know? Next. However, even with these improvements, there will all be times where we make matches that have a skill disparity that isn't reflected in MMRs, because some players in the match aren't calibrated. We've seen this more frequently since Overwatch 2 launch, and we've welcomed a large influx of new players. Okay, that makes sense. Setting up new players for success. Overwatch 2 is a lot of fun. It's a fast team-based hero shooter where players juggle the gameplay of a traditional FPS, unique abilities of a diverse hero roster, and many other different types of game modes and maps. Agreed. We've tackled the learning curve from multiple directions to help ease new players into Overwatch 2. The most viable change was adding the first-time user experience at launch, but there's also an invisible change that we're working on in the background. Better matchmaking for new players. We've noticed that new players were losing their initial matches much more than they should have, and this trend wasn't leveling out by the time they had played many more matches. Makes sense, because Overwatch has been out for 6 years. It's hard to catch up to the knowledge someone who's been playing for 5 years has. The win rates of new players should be normally distributed, meaning most players have been hovering around the 50% win rate, when instead the distribution was skewed with new players losing at higher rates. Oh, that's actually super interesting. So when you have all the people on TikTok that are complaining and saying the game sucks, if those are all brand new players, there actually is some weight to what they're saying, because they're getting shit on constantly, which is interesting. This challenge is more difficult since the matchmaker has no initial data on a player's skill when they enter the first match. We've tried to remedy this issue with 2 distinct changes. First, new players will initially get started at an MMR value slightly below average. Okay, what's the average though? You can think of it in terms of skill tiers around the lower divisions of silver. Okay, so wait, the average is around the lower divisions of silver? Wait, no, it says below average. So wait, is silver the new average for Overwatch? Holy shit. This was already below the current center point of the player-based MMR distribution, but new players' win rates were still too low. Okay, so maybe it's a little bit higher. Maybe it's like gold. We've since lowered the starting MMR to a rating equivalent to bronze 5 and instantly saw huge improvements for new players with a sub 40% win rate. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this kind of makes sense though. Like, there's no world where brand new players are going to come in and they're going to start shitting on like Overwatch vets. Like, we've played this game for many, many years. You understand ult combos. You understand ult economy. Like, even low-ranked players in Overwatch 1 understood ult economy and understood team compositions. Like, brand new players aren't going to get that kind of shit. They just think you pick Moira, go fade in the backline and kill somebody and you win. That's why the whole TikTok thing has been hilarious for most people to watch. And you look at this chart, it's very interesting. Actually, very, very interesting. If you're playing with or against a new player in Overwatch 2, these games should now broadly be fairer. The second change we implemented was aimed at new players who did not belong at the initial MMR. Initial matches are weighed differently than standard matches because the increase and decrease of MMR at a higher rate than usual. This is like the old Overwatch 1 thing where people would place a brand new account and they'd place plat and their main account would be silver or bronze. They'd be like, what the hell? I'm stuck in elo hell. No, they had a big fluctuation and they didn't know where to place them yet. So like you won like 5 out of your 10 placements or 7 out of 10 placements, wherever the fuck it was. And it's like you got placed, actually it was 5 placements in Overwatch 1. So you won like 3 or 4 out of 5 and got placed plat. And you're like, see, I've been plat the whole time. It's like, no, you haven't played enough games yet for the matchmaker to truly know. We want to adjust a player's initial MMR as quickly as possible because until their MMR is more properly calculated, we will not be able to make fair matches. However, this meant that it took several games for players to get where they belong. To improve this, we added a streak modifier system that tracks a moving average with a player's win rate. So wait, streaks are a thing? But only to new players. That's so cool. When a player wins more than 50% of their matches, we start to increase their MMR faster. This levels out once we see the player's MMR value as them joining fair matches, which corresponds to a 50% win rate. With this change, we've seen that new and returning players reach a 50% win rate with fewer matches than before. Wow, okay. The faster we can calibrate a new player's MMR, the fewer unfair matches we'll create, not just that player, but the other 9 players in the match. Overall, we think that this is a huge improvement to the new player experience, which in turn should result in better matches for everyone. There will be more information updates in the future, but until then, please keep sharing your feedback, and it's our most valuable deployment resource. Final thoughts. We are continuing to analyze data, tune values, and evaluate more changes to the matchmaker. Our highest hope is to make matches feel fun for everyone, even the team that loses. We feel strongly that is the best way to achieve this, and that making matches as fair as balanced as possible. That's so interesting. I wish it was talked a little bit more about returning player MMR. That'll probably be part 2. But I think there's some major disconnects, like MMR and skill tier division. Like, your skill tier division legitimately means nothing in the matchmaker. Like, that's the truth, and that's why the whole reset thing was so weird. Because I'm down to reset people. Like, putting people down like 2 or 3 divisions and making them work back up over time is actually not that bad. If you also reset the MMR with it. But because the MMR isn't reset, you still have the harder games, but let's say you're plat, right? And you get reset to silver and you're having hard games and you just like don't feel like you're climbing. And you're like, what the fuck? I'm in silver. I lost all my rating and my teammates suck and I can't climb. It's like, dude, you're playing in plat still. Like, you're playing against where you're supposed to be playing, but it makes it feel like you're not. And so people will probably get frustrated a lot easier at that point. So like the fact that your MMR, which is the actual matchmaking rating, in your skill tier division have zero correlation. It's just an arbitrary like made up number, like made up rank. Like it genuinely doesn't matter. Like I was saying earlier, I'm GM4 right now. I haven't played many games. I'm probably, because Hogman is kind of starting to die down and it's becoming more Orisa, and that's actually part of my hero pool. I could assume the matchmaker probably thinks I'm GM1, but I just haven't played enough games to get there yet. It's like, you know, like even though my rating was saying Masters 1 or GM4 now, I was still playing against GMs like the whole time, like high level GM players. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like this could use some massive improvements, but it's very interesting to hear about. And I hope to hear in this part 2 about players that have already been playing, not returning players. But you know, new players is also important too. So I'm glad we get to hear about that a little bit.